Welcome to the Debian Derivatives BoF, hosted by Raju. Take it away.
Thank you. Yeah, it's on. So welcome everyone. We welcome any Debian derivatives and everyone present in the room. So far, initially we could just, okay, some more people are coming in. Should we wait? Yeah. Settle down, settle down. Should be here. Yeah. So firstly, I would like you to, whoever is not aware, Debian Derivatives is the project, is a team within Debian who manages the relationships between Debian and its derivatives, and we want everyone to collaborate as closely as possible. You can find more information on wiki.debian.org/derivatives. We also have our own separate IRC and a mailing list. You can communicate with us here. Welcome to this BoF. We can go around with a round of introductions. What I would like to know with this BoF is which project you belong to, what's the current state of your project, and do you need help with something, or how can we collaborate better?
Check.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Bika, and I'm here representing Ubuntu. And Ubuntu is still active,
Yes.
And we don't have any particular needs today, but I just wanted to join the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Hello, I'm Shannon, and this is Owen, and we work on G-Linux, which is kind of a derivative based on Debian testing.
Shannon, could you spell the name of your distribution again?
G-Linux.
G-Linux.
And then Linux.
Is it already added to the derivative census?
It's internal.
Okay, you can't public. Okay, no worries. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, Mark Pearson. I'm just here to listen. I don't have a derivative. I don't know anything about them, really.
I can't hear him. Can anyone hear him?
Is it on? Testing, testing. I didn't have anything to say. I'm just here to listen.
No worries.
Yeah, and I'm also here to learn. I need the brochure.
Mike, go ahead.
I'm Thomas from the Debian project.
Hi, my name is Gerian. I have used Ubuntu on my daily laptop, and I use Lubuntu on some old PCs I have. Thank you.
Yeah, if I have not been able to catch your names, we are taking notes on gobi.debian.org. There's a part for derivative census. Consider joining in there. This is the current agenda which is there. If you want, please add your name if I have missed it or if I have not heard it properly. If you don't know what Gobi is, you can just install the package and try to connect to gobi.debian.org. Yes, next is census. For the people who don't know or who know, we maintain just like a census of population. We have a list of all the Debian derivatives. It should be here. Load. Yep. So all the Debian derivatives are, if people have added them or if we have added them, they are here. We don't arbitrarily add a derivative here. We invite those derivatives to be part of the census, and when they agree, we add them to this list. So most of the Debian derivatives that you see here are added by someone in the derivatives team or themselves if they have a wiki account or if they manage to get one. So if your distribution is not present here, consider adding it. If you cannot, that's also okay. Yeah. And this is not just for the people who are part of a derivative. If you know that some derivative, even though if you are not part of it and if it's not in the census, you can consider inviting them or letting us know that that derivative needs to be added here. So this is all a volunteer managed list. I myself used to be a part of a derivative, but I'm no more part of that derivative. I don't work there anymore. So, but you can say whatever the current status of the project, you can update here. Let's see the next part. Installers. So, yeah. Usually, in the last BoFs, we did a kind of discussion on the choice of installer that we needed for a derivative. Most of the derivatives have moved to Calamarus instead of the default DI, apart from Ubuntu, who have their own Ubiquity, and the Ubuntu derivatives who also have Ubiquity mostly. Is there something in terms of installers that the derivatives need help with? I see G Linux, and yeah, we don't have enough candidates around here. You are using, so does someone wants to have a discussion on the installer part? Do you need help with something in terms of installers, Calamarus, DI, or how, if there's a way we can collaborate together in terms of installers? Yeah.
I think different installers could be very good for Debian. For example, the graphic installers would be nice. Maybe also the Ubuntu. I'm not sure. You have a new installer for server and so on. So because I think the Debian installer is very good, but it's mostly for users that also have some technical background. Currently, we do not have good information about our live CD and the Calamarus installer. And when I looked at other Debian-related distributions, I saw that a lot of other distributions are using the Calamarus installer, which is, in my opinion, very good for the end user because it only asks like 3 to 5 questions. I'm not sure if there are more techniques outside there. If Linux Mint is using something completely different. But I think Debian could make things better if we could provide another or the graphical installer for end users.
So speaking from the Ubuntu perspective, Ubuntu desktop long used an installer called Ubiquity, and they're moving away from that. It seems like it will just be like an alternative installer for the 22.10 release in a couple months. The new installer is based on the new server installer. So Ubuntu server has used an installer called Subiquity that has been around for a few years now. The desktop implementation will have a Flutter backend. Flutter is a graphical framework made by Google. So I don't know all the technical details about the installer, but I believe that Subiquity allows for a base image to be applied, and then additional images applied on top of that, which improves how Ubiquity worked. Ubiquity had the same thing, but they had to, the last step in the installer is uninstalling installer-specific packages, like all the different languages that weren't needed, and then formatter and installer support. By making it a separate overlay image, then it can just be wiped a lot faster, so to make the install faster. The old DI installer that Debian has is slow because it's manually unpacking the packages one by one. But I believe like a live installer like Calamares is a lot faster because it can do the image-based install. If anyone has any additional questions on that, maybe I can answer some. Or
This is the first time I'm actually hearing that
Yes.
Canonical is moving away from Ubuntu is moving away from Ubiquity. So because what I know, they are going very big on Flutter-based applications in terms of app development, and there is just new. It's surprising to hear that they're actually doing the installer again. Would you like to share, like maybe when we can see, or the second thing, will it be upstreamed or not? Something like that. So can you tell us, or if you cannot tell us, yeah.
Right. So multiple points. So let me try to answer individual ones. I don't believe there's any plans for Ubuntu to have any additional Flutter apps installed by default. It's just this one.
Yeah.
But they're recommending it. It's a good framework.
Yep.
Because it can be cross-platform. So app developers can make apps that can run on mobile or Windows or now on Linux also, and have a similar look and feel on the different platforms. I said they're moving away from Ubiquity, but I left out one point that Ubuntu has several different flavors, like Kubuntu and Lubuntu. So Kubuntu was already using Calamares, but there's other derivatives that were using Ubiquity, and in the near future are still going to be using Ubiquity because that's what's been tested. They'll have to come later and get their systems migrated to that. At the moment, there aren't any plans to try to get Ubiquity working for Debian. We obviously are cool with people using it. We're just it's not a priority for Canonical to try to help like push that back to Debian.
Sure.
I don't know if some of the code is specific to how Ubuntu works either.
Probably no worries.
Yeah.
We don't have any other folks from Ubuntu, so no. Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit louder?
Yes, we don't have any other folks from Ubuntu at the moment, so we don't know what other plans are. Yeah. The Debian Derivatives team, I think Roger, no, there's someone who, so the Debian installer team needs a lot of help as well. From what I can tell is not just Debian installer, Calamares installer needs a lot of help in terms of translations. And Debian installer is more translated compared to Calamares. So if people can contribute downstream in Calamares, that would be great as well. Yeah. Next point in the agenda, if someone else has anything to add in terms of installers. Nope. So a lot of downstream applications in terms of in a lot of distributions. Some of them upstream it to the Debian repositories, but it doesn't happen very so often in a lot of distributions. Are there any applications which your team's working on to upstream to Debian, or we just have one derivative here? Yeah. Anything around that, or any comments around that?
I'll just give a couple comments on
Sure.
that. Yeah, this is very important, very useful for Debian for these applications that have been packaged downstream to come back into Debian. So I've been working on doing some of that slowly coming from Ubuntu. One example is there's a GNOME shell extension, GS Connect, which is a derivative of the KDE Connect protocol and app. And that's very useful. It allows you to connect to your Android phone. I don't know if it works for iOS also. And so the GNOME shell extension is really useful. It's packaged in Ubuntu, and I'm like, oh, we should put this in Debian too, and share the maintenance that way. I have another one that I was working on for helping with user session migration tasks. That one had a little bit of discussion on Debian Devel about what name we would choose to call it in Debian. So I'll be uploading that to the new queue again, very shortly. But there's other distros that package unique apps also, other derivatives, like Linux Mint or Pop! OS, and we encourage those distros to get their work into Debian also and have more users for their custom apps. I think that maybe some of those apps, distros are hesitant to upstream because they're part of the differentiator. They're part of what makes that distro great.
Yep.
So there may be a little bit of conflict sometimes with that, but in general, if they can be pushed upstream to Debian, that's benefits everybody.
Sure.
If you have any specific request also, then I'm willing to take those.
I would like to state that in some of the derivatives, I would like to give examples of Debian Linux as well as Kali Linux. A lot of their tools which are developed downstream, they upstreamed it to Debian. Kali Linux also had a sprint in the Google Summer of Code to upstream their security applications to Debian. I think that was 2019 or 2020. And they did manage. So in turn, it makes their applications more popular. And if their applications have their name, it makes it more popular. For instance, for Debian, the Debian terminal or maybe the Debian DE, it's not the distribution, but some parts of it become more popular because of the outreach of Debian. So if you have any downstream applications, please interact with us, and if you need any help upstreaming it, we are here. Yeah. Any other comments on this? Yeah. Any? Yeah. If I could just add this.
I guess I'll just
Yeah.
give another follow-up since
Sure.
we have some extra time. I'd reached out to Pop! OS about if they were interested in getting some of their unique packages into Debian, and the developer I talked to was cool with that. Many of their custom applications are written in Rust, and to follow best practices in Debian, we try to de-vendor the application, so the dependencies ideally are packaged separately as separate Rust libraries. So it's a lot more work to get those in under Debian standards. But if anybody wants to work on helping on that, that would be useful. They come up with some interesting, useful apps too. And I believe speaking of installers, I believe they have their own custom installer written in Rust. It's not based on Ubuntu or Debian or Calamari's installers.
I haven't tried. I just know that a lot of people have moved to using Pop! OS as the daily driver. I need to check out the installer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a lot of time, and because of the number of people attending, we actually covered most of the major points. Is there something we would like to add to the discussion into the agenda? Think of it till I cover the next point. I actually covered it already, but if you know a derivative distribution which is not in the census, there's actually a standard mailing template. Which, yeah. I won't be able to find it right now, but yeah, there's a standard mailing template which we can use. You can I'll post it on the IRC later, which Paul Wise and I used to do that a while back, but I don't do that anymore. Paul Wise usually does it, and he also keeps posting. He's kind of the most active in the derivatives team. So he usually keeps looking out for DistroWatch and other websites where new distributions are usually keep getting added, and keeps inviting those distributions. The last thing also about the census is you can invite these distributions to attend Debian conferences, and they can also apply for a bursary. If it gets accepted, they can attend on their using the bursary as well, or if they can attend on their own, that would be great as well, so that we can have more distributions attending DebConf, and there's a lot to collaborate with distributions, which they would benefit from attending Debian conferences. So all those mailing templates are somewhere around here. I won't try to find it because I would lose time trying to find it. Yeah. Any other agenda items? Thomas? The last BoF was like full, the last BoF we had. This time we just 3, yeah, 4. Is there anything on IRC? Tafreer? Nope. Yeah, I guess then we can end this. Talk, Mr. Yeah.
Thank you, Raju. Keep up the good work. We need more people like this. We're done.
Thank you. Thanks for attending.